a new version of the Mueller report was released. With it comes new findings. Meigs County finds new ways to honor its history. And in sports, one of the state's top recruits is going to be a Bobcat. Newswatch starts right now.
Broadcasting live from WOUB TV in Athens, this is Newswatch.
Good evening, I'm Steven Hernandez. Thanks for joining us. It's been almost a month since the end of the special counsel Robert Mueller's investigative report. Now, Attorney General Bill Barr has finally released a redacted version of the report to Capitol Hill and the public. But will it be enough for lawmakers? Karen Caifa is at the Justice Department in Washington with what we have learned from the investigation's conclusions.
The report is delivered. Congress and the public now getting a first glimpse at Special Counsel Robert Mueller's redacted report into Russian interference in the 2016 U.S. election. Prior to its release, Barr explaining the conclusions laid out in his March letter.
So that's the bottom line. The special counsel confirmed that the Russian government sponsored efforts to illegally interfere with the 2016 presidential election, but did not find that the Trump campaign or other Americans colluded in those efforts. The evidence developed by the special counsel is not sufficient to establish that the president committed an obstruction of justice offense.
The Attorney General also giving insight into the process leading up to the release of Robert Mueller's redacted report.
Earlier this week, the president's personal counsel requested and was given the opportunity to read a final version of the redacted report before it was publicly released.
Barr saying that the president didn't exert executive privilege to redact anything in the report before its release. Congressional Democrats slam Barr's timing and have called for the release of the full Mueller report without any redactions, and are now requesting Robert Mueller's testimony before Congress, quote, as soon as possible.
It now appears the Attorney General intends to once again put his own spin on the investigative work completed by the special counsel and his team.
In Washington, I'm Karen Caifa.
The report in its entirety still has yet to be fully released. Democrats are calling for an immediate hearing with Robert Mueller. President Donald Trump offered up his own opinion on how the report went. The report came out at the same time as an event at the White House to honor wounded warriors. Trump made time during the event to address the Mueller report.
Having a good day too. It was called No Collusion, No Obstruction. There never was, by the way, and there never will be. And we do have to get to the bottom of these things, I will say, and this should never happen.
He went on to say that an event like this should never happen to another U.S. president. Over $4,000 stolen from Vinton County High School by a former secretary has been returned. According to an Athens Messenger report, Gail Huff, who resigned in 2018, pleaded guilty to the theft. Huff was found to have been pocketing student money that was meant to be used for fundraisers. Huff is ordered to pay back the money and she is on probation for 2 years. A man who is already serving 2 life sentences will have to stay in jail for much longer. Convicted murderer Casey Page had 32 more years added to his sentence after attacking a guard. Page stabbed Officer Matthew Mathias 32 times at the Southern Ohio Correctional Facility as he was escorting him from the infirmary. Prison officials said that the knives used were made of metal from the inmates' beds. Officials also say Page and co-defendants were on hunger strikes protesting harsh treatment. 2 people pleaded guilty on Wednesday in connection with the death of a 2-year-old in Lawrence County. WSAZ reports that 29-year-old Casey Boggs and 37-year-old David Large, both of Ironton, pleaded guilty to involuntary manslaughter. Investigators say that the child overdosed and died after being exposed to heroin and fentanyl at the couple's home in Ironton. Both were sentenced to 10 years in prison. The leader of the Ohio House says a proposed overhaul of the state school will likely have to be handled separately from the state budget due by the end of June. 2 proposals are being considered by lawmakers, one by Representatives Bob Cupp and John Patterson, and the other is by Governor Mike DeWine. The plan by Cupp and Patterson is a complete overhaul, while the plan by DeWine proposes $550 million in new funding targeted towards high poverty areas. Meigs County is celebrating its bicentennial this year. Reporter Caitlin Coolidge tells us how the county is celebrating this huge milestone.
Each month, Meigs County will reveal a new historical marker, and at the end of the year, all 12 townships will have a piece of history to share with its community. This month's mark was revealed in Leetart Township, and it commemorates the Riverside Mill Company. W.F. Sayer opened the mill in the late 1800s. Wooden barges and paddle wheel halls were built there until the mill was forced to close after the 1937 flood. Sayer's great-great-grandson says these markers are important for his family and the entire county.
We just have so much stuff that is gone that people don't know ever existed, whether it's people or businesses or just things that went on.
Grant Adams, a Meigs County Bicentennial Ambassador, says he hopes the historic markers will help change the stereotypes that are associated with southern Ohio towns.
Being from Appalachia, there's a lot of perception of, oh, it's a nothing area and has nothing to offer, but there's such a rich history in this area.
The county will be holding a weekend celebration from April 26th to 28th to celebrate its 200th birthday. A parade through Pomeroy, Civil War reenactments, live music, and other activities are planned. More info on the weekend celebration can be found on the Meigs County Bicentennial Facebook page. For WOUB News, I'm Caitlin Coolidge.
The next historical marker will be revealed on May 15th. Information on the location of the marker will be released on the Bicentennial Facebook page.
Newswatch Weather Center. I'm your forecaster, Cameron Saliga. We're going to look at the almanac today. We reached 79 out there. It was a beautiful day. Some clouds have built during the end of the day, and our low is 50, so we're above normal for both the high and low with a record of 90 in 1976, and sunset's going to be at 8:09 p.m. tonight. Right now, 79 with gusty winds with gusts around 25 to 30 miles an hour with clouds increasing and a south wind at 10 miles per hour as we check out the temperatures around the area. 79 in Athens, 80 in Jackson. Down in Ripley, we hit 82 today. And Chillicothe, 76. We're seeing partly cloudy skies to the east and mostly cloudy skies to the west. As we check out our precipcast currently, we see that rain off to the west that's bringing that cloud cover to Columbus. And I will let you know in my full weather when we will see that rain in our area. Back to you.
As always, thanks for the weather update, Cameron. A Kentucky judge has overruled the state's decision to release only blacked out details of sexual harassment allegations made by a former top social services official. The Courier-Journal sought records after Adria Johnson resigned last year as commissioner of the Department for Community Services, but the state provided blackout details. Judge Philip Shepard ruled that the state had to disclose all records and pay the paper's legal fees. The Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell wants to raise the minimum age to purchase tobacco nationwide to 21 years old. He made the announcement Thursday in Kentucky. McConnell cited surveys that show 45% of the state's high schoolers have tried vaping. McConnell says he will introduce the bill in May and that it will include e-cigarettes.
When I got back to Washington, when I go back to Washington after the additional work period we have next week, I'll introduce legislation to raise the minimum age to buy tobacco products from 18 to 21. This will cover all tobacco products, including vaping devices.
The Center for Disease Control and Prevention says 90% of cigarette smokers try their first cigarette before they turn 18. According to the CDC, about a dozen states have already raised the tobacco buying age. A large drug supplier is in police custody after being arrested in Huntington, West Virginia. WSAC reports that 40-year-old Tyson Davis of Akron was arrested yesterday. He was found in possession of more than 100 grams of fentanyl, heroin, pills, marijuana, and 2 guns. Top politicians sound off on the redacted Mueller report. And a top rival of the United States requests a change of leadership. These stories and more when Newswatch returns.
WOUB is member-supported public television. Your contribution keeps WOUB available in your community. Become a member with a gift of $60 or more for access to stream more than 1,000 of your favorite PBS programs through WOUB Passport. Programs like Nature, Sherlock, and all episodes of Downton Abbey and Victoria. Pledge now at woub.org. And thank you.
This is a box that showed you a world beyond your own. It was just a box, but the world has changed, and so have we. And now the box can be almost any size or shape. And you decide what you want to explore. Anytime, any place. Break out of the box with PBS.
PBS had a special on Pearl Harbor, and once Landon started watching the show about the Arizona, he completely became fascinated.
That's Donald Stratton, and that's me.
And then his Christmas wish this year was to meet Donald Stratton, one of the survivors from the Arizona.
So good to see you, buddy.
Everything that Landon has learned from PBS, it's immeasurable.
This is for you.
Thank you, big guy.
He is living proof of the effect that PBS has had on his life.
I loved Ken Burns' series on the Civil War. It was deeply impacting. I love history. To have those stories told through these letters, through stories of love and loss, it rewrote the book on how to tell a story. When television was invented, there were a lot of people who had dreams about what it could do. I think PBS still aspires for and often succeeds at reaching the highest ideals of what television could be.
With the release of the extended Mueller report, many top officials are chiming in. 2020 presidential hopeful Kristen Gillibrand was campaigning in Iowa when asked about the report.
The Attorney General of the United States is supposed to represent the people of the United States. He's not supposed to represent President Trump. And by having this press conference today that is misleading the American people was not appropriate. He needs to actually deliver the fully unredacted Mueller report to Congress, because our job is to review it, and he should make the facts available to the American public. That's the whole purpose of the special counsel statute. No one is above the law, and the president is not above the law. And we deserve transparency and accountability.
The newly released Mueller report explains why Donald Trump Jr. was not prosecuted for meeting with a Russian lawyer. In a redacted version of the report, Mueller declined to prosecute Trump Jr. for campaign finance violations, in part because they couldn't prove he, quote, willfully broke the law. The report also says it declined to prosecute other campaign officials for the same reason. The investigation looked into possible collusion between President Trump's election campaign and Russia. But according to the redacted version, investigations were unable to determine that, quote, no criminal conduct occurred. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo is not popular in North Korea. Officials in Pyongyang say they no longer want him involved with talks between the U.S. and Pyongyang. North Korea's state news agency says North Korea wants someone, quote, more careful and mature. Kwon Jong-gun, the head of the North Korean Foreign Ministry's North America Department, blasts Pompeo for making, quote, loose, reckless remarks against North Korea on a daily basis. This comes as North Korean leader Kim Jong-un directed, quote, a new tactical guided weapons firing test, according to KCNA. The news agency didn't specify what type of weapon was tested. Facebook is facing more questions about user privacy. The social network admitted it collected 1.5 million users' email contacts without their consent. Facebook said Wednesday users' email contacts lists have been unintentionally uploaded to Facebook following a design change almost 2 years ago. A Facebook spokesperson said the firm did not realize what was happening until April of this year. The company said they are now in the process of deleting the mistakenly uploaded contact lists and that they have not been shared with anyone outside of Facebook. Health officials in California say a person with measles visited Google headquarters in Silicon Valley. A Santa Clara County spokeswoman said in an email, the County of Santa Clara Public Health Department worked with Google to contact individuals in our county who might have come in contact with a person with measles while they may have been contagious. As of April 10th, California has reported 21 cases of measles this year. According to the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the United States has experienced a resurgence of the highly contagious disease this year. Outbreaks have been linked in part to the anti-vaccination movement. If you feel like this month has been hotter than usual, there's a reason why. That story is still ahead.
It's been a beautiful day out there today, but rain is on the way. Find out when that's expected. All that and much more in my full weather.
WOUB is member-supported public television. Your contribution keeps WOUB available in your community. Become a member with a gift of $60 or more for access to stream more than 1,000 of your favorite PBS programs through WOUB Passport. Programs like Nature, Sherlock, and all episodes of Downton Abbey and Victoria. Pledge now at woub.org. And thank you.
I loved Ken Burns' series on the Civil War. It was deeply impacting. I love history. To have those stories told through these letters, through stories of love and loss, it rewrote the book on how to tell its story. When television was invented, there were a lot of people who had dreams about what it could do. I think PBS still aspires for and often succeeds at reaching the highest ideals of what television could be.
What are you doing?
Possibilities. Your day is filled with them.
Reach up, energy in the fingertips, collapse. TV, play Downton Abbey.
And PBS helps everyone discover theirs. Anytime, anywhere.
Up in the sky, you can see it.
PBS, we're with you for life.
PBS had a special on Pearl Harbor, and once Landon started watching the show about the Arizona, he completely became fascinated.
That's Donald Stratton, and that's me.
And then his Christmas wish this year was to meet Donald Stratton, one of the survivors from the Arizona.
So good to see you, buddy.
Everything that Landon has learned from PBS, it's immeasurable.
This is for you.
Thank you, big guy.
He is living proof of the effect that PBS has had on his life.
Welcome to Newswatch Weather. I'm your forecaster, Cameron Saliga. We're going to look at the headlines. There's a cool down on the way, and some thunderstorms are going to return. And will Easter be dry on Sunday for you? We're going to check that out in my full forecast tonight. We see 61 in Athens. Gusty chance of AM shower. We have gusty winds up to 30 miles an hour overnight, and winds coming out of the southwest at 15 to 20 miles per hour. As we check out the hour by hour tonight, we're going to see 75 at 8 p.m. We're going to see gusty winds again, up to 30 miles an hour at times. And by 12 a.m., we're going to see 65 with a 10% chance of showers. And by 4 a.m., we're going to see 63 with a 40% chance of showers. And that is due to a low pressure that's moving through as we see the temperatures overnight. 61 in Athens, 59 in New Lexington, 62 down in Ironton, and we're going to see cloudy skies throughout the area and some rain to the west. And that is caused by a low pressure system that's moving through right here. We see that they're getting some rain down there in the southern states, and we are going to see this cold front move through overnight and into the afternoon tomorrow, bringing showers, chances throughout the day. We see tomorrow 70 degrees in Athens. Thunderstorms are possible with gusty winds starting out the day. We're gonna decrease those winds down in the afternoon with a wind at south at 5 to 10 miles per hour. And our temperatures tomorrow, we're gonna see 61 up in Columbus, 71 down in Athens. Ripley, we're gonna see 74. So it's gonna be much cooler than today with cloudy skies and showers. And we're going to see your morning commute 62 by 6 a.m., 50% chance of showers. By 7 a.m., we're going to increase that chance to 60. And by 8 a.m., we're going to see showers, 70% chance with temperatures in the 60s. As we check out your afternoon planner, we're going to get a break at 11 a.m. from those showers. And by 3 p.m., we're going to start to see some thunderstorms and showers come back. And by 7, we're going to see continued showers. And we're going to see this low continue to move through the area. And then we have this high pressure that's right behind it. And we're going to see on the 7-day forecast tomorrow, we're going to be 70. And then Saturday, it's going to be 54, 65 on Sunday for your Easter. And on Monday, we're going to return up into the upper 70s. So it's going to be a cool weekend this Easter weekend for you. And then we'll start to warm up again.
Yeah, I mean, tell me about it. Is it me or has it been very hot recently?
It has been very warm. It's been above average for a while now.
Yeah, it's sort of weird. I kind of welcome the cold a little bit. It would be a nice change of pace.
It's great. Sometimes it's really too hot out there for you.
Yeah, I know. And actually, if you think that last month felt a little warmer than usual, you're not alone. The National Oceanic and Atmosphere Administration says last month was the second hottest month of the second hottest March in record for the entire planet. Only March of 2016 was hotter. The NOAA also says the first quarter of this year, that's January, February, and March, was the third warmest on record for the globe. Analysts say this could be a sign of how climate change is affecting Earth. Another example, loss of polar sea ice. The NOAA says average Arctic sea ice coverage was nearly 6% below the numbers from 1981 to 2010. It was even worse from Antarctic sea ice. That number was down nearly 22%. Ask anyone who has ever tried to break a bad habit and they'll tell you it's easier said than done. But in today's Health Minute, Reed Binion explains why that doesn't have to be the case.
Whether it's giving up smoking or junk food, there's at least one bad habit that most people would love to break, or at least have made countless attempts to break. Because habits can influence our behavior, they can be leveraged for positive change, but they can also hold back progress. A great rule of thumb, however, is to replace a bad habit with a better one. And one is often the inverse of the other, which can work in your favor, like eating clean is eating less junk and working out is being less sedentary. If you're wondering how long it takes to convert a bad habit into a good one, according to researchers from University College of London, on average, it takes a little over 2 months, and in some cases, even longer. So hang in there, and if you're worried about falling off the wagon, be mindful of what triggers those bad habits. You don't want to sabotage all your hard work. For today's Health Minute, I'm Reed Binion.
Good evening, News Watchers. Let's talk sports, shall we? Going to be a fun weekend for Bobcat sports. We'll run down which Ohio teams are ready to do some damage starting tomorrow. And one of the best basketball players in Ohio is going to be a Bobcat. Who is this high school star? And what makes him want to come to Athens? We'll answer those questions when Newswatch returns.
A box that showed you a world beyond your own. It was just a box, but the world has changed, and so have we. And now the box can be almost any size or shape. And you decide what you want to explore. Anytime, any place. Break out of the box with PBS.
What are you doing?
Possibilities. Your day is filled with them.
Reach up, energy in the fingertips, collapse. TV, play Downton Abbey.
And PBS helps everyone discover theirs. Anytime, anywhere.
Up in the sky, you can see it.
PBS, we're with you for life.
PBS had a special on Pearl Harbor, and once Landon started watching the show about the Arizona, he completely became fascinated.
That's Donald Stratton, and that's me.
And then his Christmas wish this year was to meet Donald Stratton, one of the survivors from the Arizona.
So good to see you, buddy.
Everything that Landon has learned from PBS, it's immeasurable.
This is for you.
Thank you, big guy.
He is living proof of the effect that PBS has had on his life.
WOUB is member-supported public television. Your contribution keeps WOUB available in your community. Become a member with a gift of $60 or more for access to stream more than 1,000 of your favorite PBS programs through WOUB Passport. Programs like Nature, Sherlock, and all episodes of Downton Abbey and Victoria. Pledge now at WOUB.org. And thank you.
Welcome back. I'm Blake Baker. One of the top recruits in Ohio is going to be a Bobcat. In March, Gatorade named Ben Roderick Ohio Boys Basketball Player of the Year. Yesterday, Roderick officially named OU his future home. The Olentangy Liberty senior is the second commit to new head coach Jeff Bowles' first recruiting class. And it was Bowles who swayed Roderick's decision and shared with him what it's going to take to compete at Ohio.
Over to my house and kind of laid the foundation, and I took a visit, and I had a really good feeling about it. I'm just going to come in day one and work hard and do whatever I can to get on the court and just give it my all.
Signed a letter of intent to OU. Sienna Sakic committed to OU field hockey all the way back in 2017 and even stuck with it through a coaching change. Yesterday, Sakic finally got the chance to officially become a Bobcat.
There wasn't really any other thought besides Ohio University. I loved the campus, I loved the coach there at the time, and of course the new coach now, and there was just my brothers there, so that was the only place I wanted to go.
Now, those two are getting ready to start their Bobcat careers, but a couple other freshmen just finished their first semester in sports. Curtis Rourke and Cannon Blouser enrolled at OU in January and spent this spring football season getting fully familiar with the program.
Building chemistry early is really important, and that's why I chose to come early and not only to be a part of spring ball, but also to get to know everybody and get that chemistry down. And if I can get a head start and have the opportunity to come early, then I just said why not, because that would just be a huge help for me.
It's an advantage to me as a player to get here early, and I can learn things now, and so fall camp comes, I'm ready to play. It's been my dream ever since I was little, and I don't want to wait 6 more months to start that dream.
Rourke's got it pretty good. His brother Nathan, 2-year starter at quarterback and a team captain, is here to help smooth the transition to the college level.
Great help, and with someone who's had such great success as him, it's been really nice to bounce off ideas and especially be comfortable with him, because I've lived 17, 18 years with him. So.
As for the true spring sports, 3 Bobcat teams will be in action tomorrow. All of them will be on the road tomorrow and for the rest of the weekend. Ohio Track and Field kicks off the weekend with the Virginia Challenge. Competition starts at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. The Cats earned a top 5 finish in 3 events at last weekend's Charlotte Invitational. Women's golf is shooting for a MAC title, and they'll get a chance this weekend. The ladies tee off at 9 a.m. in Noblesville, Indiana. And finally, Ohio baseball faces Eastern Michigan in a series for the first and only time this season. They'll do it in Ypsilanti starting tomorrow at 5 p.m. Now, all those teams are away, but when they come back home, my friends at Bobcat Sports Showcase got you covered on all the news. Go ahead and follow them at Bobcat Showcase for anything you need. We'll go ahead and follow them right now. Now, right now, I'm going to toss it back to the desk because that's all I got in sports. Steven, take us home.
Thanks, Blake. Residents of a village in Russia's far eastern Kamchatka Peninsula were stunned when they saw a polar bear climbing onto the shore, hundreds of miles away from its usual habitat. Russian media reported on Wednesday that the animal, which looked exhausted, prowled the village in search for food, and local residents gave it some fish. Greenpeace activist Vladimir Chuparov said that the bear could have lost its bearings while drifting on an ice floe from Chukotka to arrive in a village on Kamchatka, about 430 miles south.
And this weekend, we're going to see some showers starting off your Friday p.m. 70 degrees with 70% chance. By Saturday a.m., we're going to see 40% chance, drop down to 49 degrees. And by Saturday p.m., 54 degrees and 40%. And looking at your Easter, we see 43 to start the day off, get up to 50 around noon, mostly cloudy, and then by 5 p.m. we're going to be 60 and mostly cloudy as well for you. So it's going to be a great Easter out there for you. Back to you, Stephen.
Thanks, Cameron, and that does it for our broadcast this evening. I'm Stephen Hernandez. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the PBS News Hour coming up next. And remember, you can find the latest news anytime at WOUB.org. Have a great night.